A new look, David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium, a sold-out crowd, and the Jayhawks back at home for the first time in nearly 2 years. Can Kansas ride the wave against a dangerous Fresno State squad? I'm Nathan Johnston, here with my co-host Brad Hopkins. It's time to break the huddle. Week 0 is officially here for college football, Brad. We're pumped. I can't believe it's here. It's been a long time coming. We talked about it all off season. 90 days, 60 days, 30 days. It's here.
Finally.
And we're going to break down the game for you. So let's get right into it. Let's break down our first game of the week. Fresno State at Kansas, at David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium. And Kansas currently favored by a whopping 12.5 points right now, Brad. This matchup's interesting. A lot of storylines to headline in this one. You're a big fan of Kansas's head coach. We're also fans of Fresno State's new head coach, Matt Entz, who coached at North Dakota State. Let's talk about setting the stage, Brad. I'll turn it over to you. Thoughts on this game and what does it mean for the fans heading into week 0?
Absolutely, Nate. Just let me say, it just feels so good to be back. And thank you to all our new subscribers. Thank you to our subscribers that have been with us since the beginning. We started this two and a half years ago. We're going on season 3. Thank you guys. Nate and I love this. We're close friends and this is something we love. But thank you guys for listening. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for this season and we appreciate your subscribing, support. We appreciate your support for sure. So getting into this game, Nate, a lot of storylines. I'm a huge fan of Matt Entz and what he's bringing to this Fresno State team. And I think, this is a guy that if he has a good year, he may not be in Fresno long. And you think about, on the flip side, Kansas was kind of one of the favorites in the Big 12 last year, and they had a very, very disappointing 5-7 season. They're looking for a bounce back. And then, of course, Nate, Fresno State, they're last year in the Mountain West. Boise State is the big favorites, but Fresno wants to kind of state their claim that, hey, we were once dominating this conference. We want to do something about it before we move on. So a lot of good storylines. I'm excited just to see what kind of Matt Entz stamp that he puts on this Fresno State program.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of great things. Fresno State moving to the Pac-12 soon, along with a few other teams. And then you look at the storylines for this game. Excuse me. Kansas with a new wide receiver group. They obviously lose Devin Neal. Big loss for them. Absolutely. Plus tight end depth. And then you look at Fresno State. Matt Entz bringing in a run-heavy system from North Dakota State. Curious to see how that system translates into the Mountain West. He took a year last year to coach at USC on the defensive side of the ball. Now he gets full reins of the team again. Thoughts on these two storylines heading into this game?
I love the move that Matt Entz made. And look, I know it broke a lot of North Dakota State hearts, but I think he realized, hey, this may be a fast track for me to get into FBS, and we're seeing that. You mentioned a run-heavy system. He's bringing in his offensive coordinator was actually a guy that he coached against that also comes from the FCS ranks. So I think you're going to see Fresno State very, very run-heavy. Of course, Kurt Warner's son has been named EJ, their starting quarterback, and has bounced around. He's been at Rice, I believe. Has he been at Temple, I believe, as well? But I know he's been at Rice, so a guy with a lot of experience. But Nate, the guy that I'm watching out for from Fresno State is Bryson Donaldson. He's going to fit into this run-first offense very, very well. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch him. I think you have in our notes here breakout cannon, and I agree with that. I think if the offensive line plays the way we think they're capable of, Matt Entz is going to instill a physical run-first offense. He could be a big-time breakout star for Fresno.
Yeah, and then you look at the other side of the ball, Brad, and Jalon Daniels, a key contributor for that Kansas offense. The biggest thing that we got to look for is, can he avoid turnovers?
Right.
He was very effective with his legs over the last 2 or 3 years. I'm drawing a blank on how long he's been at Kansas.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Right.
He hasn't been able to stay healthy, and that's a big concern for this Kansas team because he could go out there game 1 and get hurt, and their whole season turns to a backup quarterback like it has the past couple years.
Absolutely, that's a good point. And Nate, just one other thing. I was reading an article earlier this week in preparation for, for our episode. Jalon Daniels, really 2 years ago and last year, he was a guy that it was subtle, but he was getting a little bit of preseason high.
He was.
Just because when this guy's healthy, when this guy is able to run the football, he is a dynamic playmaker, and so he's got to stay healthy. If Kansas wants to, get back to what they were, I mean, we're talking about a team that was very, very competitive in the Big 12, had it down here last year. It starts and ends with number 6, Jalon Daniels. Nate, one more note before I turn it back over to you. Kansas is breaking in somewhat of a new offensive coordinator. Jeff Grimes leaves to go to Wisconsin offseason. That's going to be interesting. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot change. Matt Lubick takes over, but that to me is interesting. How did him and Jalon Daniels mesh? And so that's going to be, I think, a quiet storyline to watch, not only this Saturday, but as this season progresses for Kansas.
Yeah, and then you look at the keys to the game, right? You look at Kansas's defense versus a very balanced Fresno attack. Matt Entz, I understand Kansas is favored heavily in this one. Number one, you got to think about this. Rooster always says, shout out Rooster. He always says, you get home field advantage. That's going to be a 2 to 3 point swing right off the bat. Kansas bringing in a new stadium. Those fans are going to be electric. Those players are going to be just overly hyped to get out there and play their first game in this stadium. And then you look at, like I said, the home field advantage. Look at that. I have it in my notes. I got ahead of myself. But yeah, the home field energy in a renovated stadium. I'd like to get your thoughts not only on the home field advantage, but how does Fresno State's balanced attack keep this one close?
To me, I think they are going to look to obviously be a run-heavy team. Nate, I think the big thing for them is they've got to be successful on first and second down. They cannot get behind the chains. And I think Fresno, I think they've got it capable of passing attack. But look, when you start over the new head coach, there's obviously so many unknowns. You could say that for a lot of teams with the portal and everything, but I think Fresno State has got to stay, in front of the chains. They've got to put themselves in manageable third down situations. I think a big thing is they're going to try to shorten the game. They're going to try to, quote unquote, take the air out of the ball. And if Fresno State wins the time possession by more than 15 minutes on Saturday, we might be saying they come away with the upset. I think that's the key is they want to keep Jalon Daniels and the Kansas offense off the field and keep their offense on it by running the ball control offense and just helping out their defense as much as they can.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. You read my mind. I was going to say they've got to keep Jalon Daniels off the field. They have to. And they've got to create a couple turnovers.
Right.
I'm going to tell you this much. If Fresno State can create a couple turnovers and they can have that solid run game consistently up and down the field, they're going to have a shot to maybe keep this game close, if not win.
Right.
I mean, man, what a spoiler alert that would be, right?
Absolutely.
You beat Kansas, their first home game at the new stadium. Talk about a huge win for Matt Entz, that would be. But let's jump into our prediction for this game. We talked about the preview. Let's talk about our prediction. Brad, I'll turn it over to you. Who comes out on top in this heated, I was going to say heated rival. It's not a heated rival. Who comes out in this great matchup in the first game for Kansas in their new stadium?
So I think Fresno keeps this extremely, extremely close. I would not even be surprised if Fresno's leading at halftime. I think third quarter, Jalon Daniels starts to take over. I think he starts to take over specifically with his legs. And I think Kansas just shows that they're a little bit deeper. They're a little bit more talented, especially up front on both lines of scrimmage. Nate, I think Kansas wins. I think they win by double digits, but I don't think it's a blowout. I think my bold prediction for this one, I think Jalon Daniels runs for at least 75 and a couple of touchdowns. I think Kansas shows why this guy is one of the most dynamic playmakers in the country. Ultimately, I'm picking the Jayhawks. I think it's really close. I think if you're a Fresno State fan, you're going to be saying, we've got something with Matt Entz. We got something with this team. We just didn't have quite enough on this day.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you look at the two opponents, it's Big 12 versus Mountain West. Obviously, the Big 12 team should come in as a heavy favorite. Yeah. Power 4 versus Group of 5. When I look at this matchup, Matt Entz is going to scheme some pretty smart things. Absolutely. And Lance Leopold is going to have to look at some film back from North Dakota State. Fresno State has the advantage in that they have the upper hand in terms of Kansas really doesn't know what Fresno State's going to be.
Right.
They don't. But in the end, I still think Kansas prevails. I think they just have the better talent. They probably have a little bit more depth at some of the key positions that need to be rotated. And as the game goes on, I just think Kansas is going to be able to separate themselves and show the difference between a Big 12 team and a Mountain West team. But to your point, Fresno State's got something cooking. Matt Entz still has a shot to win the Mountain West Conference this year, in my opinion. We're going to see more as the season goes on. But today, give me Kansas. I think Kansas starts off the season 1-0. I hope they storm the field. I know it's not a big opponent, but I think that'd be a really cool opportunity to get the fans involved.
Absolutely.
Kansas, Fresno State fans, and college football fans around the world, let us know down in the comments what you think about this game. Who comes out on top in Lawrence, Kansas for the first game in David Booth Memorial Stadium. Be sure to subscribe down below, like this video, and turn on that bell notification to stay up to date. We post our latest content. When we come back next time, we'll see us in our post-game analysis. It's time to break the huddle.